and the plot Moistens is the 21st episode of the 3rd season of 2.5 Men. And as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode and share some thoughts. And it's an okay episode. I don't love it, but there are definitely some good moments. It starts off with Alan and Kandi in bed. Kandi is playing Family Feud with her toes, because why wouldn't you? But Alan is in need of some conversation, which he tries to get from Charlie. Obviously, that doesn't go according to plan. And the next thing we know, Alan and Judith are actually at Jake's school for a parent-teacher meeting. And it's quite sweet, actually, because Charlie has come along to look after Jake while they're having the conversation with the teacher, which I thought was quite sweet of Charlie. And the teacher, a character called Francine, played by Juliet Campbell, suggests that maybe Jake could benefit from some extracurriculars. She suggests drama club. And the next thing we see is Alan singing a Pirates of Penzance song to Jake. The music in this is pretty great. We do have some great songs. Jake wanted to sing a song called Whoop That Stanky Ho, which is not quite the same as Pirates of Penzance. And then we have a delightful scene where Charlie is at the piano and Jake is singing Bohemian Rhapsody. And the vocal performance may not be great, but it's certainly enjoyable. And I definitely like the music in this episode. Alan then comes home, and it is so clear immediately that he is lying to Charlie about where he's been because he's giving too much information. And it turns out he's actually been with Jake's teacher, with Francine, but all they're doing is talking. And we then see Alan and Francine playing Scrabble out on the deck. It looks like a lovely evening, I have to say. That seems really nice. And Kandi happens to come over, and Charlie agrees to cover for Alan. And he kind of tells Kandi that Alan is currently out buying her a diamond necklace. And we get another brief look at Jake's rehearsing. And then we find out that Alan had to buy the necklace because that was the easier option than telling her the truth. And she gets this beautiful necklace. And in return, Alan gets extra special bonus sex. So it might have been an expensive gift, but he's getting something that makes him quite happy. And it just so happens that while Alan is giving Kandi this necklace, Francine turns up and Charlie decides to have some more fun. But this time, his lie actually could work in Alan's favour, because he told Francine that Alan is doing a lot of charity work. And I'm sure that could backfire in some way, but within the context of the episode, it just seemed to work in Alan's favour, so that was quite nice. Unless, I guess one could argue that it encouraged Francine to start to have real feelings for Alan, and that's not what Alan was wanting, so maybe that didn't work. But I feel like, and this is just my opinion, I think Alan and Francine would have been better together than Alan and Kandi. But I'm not the biggest fan of Kandi. As I've said before, April Bowlby does an amazing job with the character, but she's kind of an annoying character. It turns out that Francine definitely has feelings for Alan, though, because she gave Jake the lead in the school musical. Why else would she give Jake the role, considering he's not exactly that talented with singing? Unless he's the best one in the school. I'd like to think that's not the case, but you never know. And Alan says to Charlie, I underestimated my allure, which I absolutely loved. And then we have the final scene, and I feel like I was left wanting more. Not necessarily because it was amazing, but the ending just fell a bit flat. Because we're at the performance, Judith is there, Kandi meets Francine. Why did Alan not think that through? Alan does tell Judith that he had to invite Kandi because, well, Jake invited her, so she had to come along. And I guess that's our explanation as to why Kandi was there, even though it was pretty obvious Kandi and Francine were going to meet. But it does seem a bit of a risk for Alan to take, and, well, things between Kandi and Francine didn't go very well. And then Jake sings The Impossible Dream and we end the episode. I love that song. And I really wanted to know what Francine was thinking. I really wanted her to confront Alan. I wanted some kind of satisfying conclusion with that character, and we didn't get it. And I feel like I'm left wanting more because I feel like it's not really concluded very well. So it wasn't the best ending. Jake was great, and I love that song, as I said. But with Francine, it fell a bit flat. It felt like they didn't know how to conclude it, or they ran out of time, so they just kind of let it fizzle out. And I didn't love the ending. But the rest of it was fine. And the plot Moistens is never going to be a favourite episode. But generally speaking, it's definitely not a bad episode of Two and a Half Men, but it's not amazing.